Have you watched anything good lately?
I have. Over the weekend, we were watching together Forbidden Planet.
Ooh,
And yeah, and I'd been in the mood to see it again recently. I don't know, some of the I think conversations around AI recently just got me
yeah.
thinking about Forbidden Planet again, which is just definitely something that the movie deals with, kind of those concepts. And just remembering again just what a great film it is in so many different ways. Even things that I like remember disliking about the movie or not. I don't know. I remember there being like problems with how like Anne Frances's character was depicted, or just there being like some kind of like prevailing sexism in the film or in the writing. And like watching it again recently, I'm like, there's not at all
Hmm.
actually.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's kind of presented in a very three-dimensional way, and just the way that the different characters act, it all makes sense. It all works really well. I mean, I'm sure modern viewers would take issue with certain things because, oh, this is an old movie and there's a woman in it. So therefore, um, but even the kind of comic relief subplot with the cook, it reinforces the theme of the movie of just like wanting something and then like
Mm.
getting it in excess. It's not just people like Morbius who are going to want things. It's going to be, people like the cook, and they're not going
Hmm.
to be able to handle the things that they get even on a small scale, and it all reinforces the themes and the ideas in the movie. Yeah, it's great. Still, the scene where the id monster attacks the ship, it's just like one of the greatest sequences in film history, like bar none. It's just staged so perfectly, and the special effects and just like the depth of that set or the different sets for the planet. Like it sometimes
Hmm.
you really do kind of, yeah, you just like forget, and you just like think like, oh wow, like those mountains back there, they're really there. Or there's just something
Yeah.
about how it's all set up. The sense of depth is like really crazy. What a great film. The mood, like those kind of those electronic tonalities that the Barons did, it just adds to it as well. Just so many little things, each time I watch it that come out afresh, and more people should see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AI part of it was my mind instantly went to that when I would hear some discussions, especially when people just talk about what AI can do and what people are already using it for
Right.
and abusing it. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh, it's just like the Krell machine.
Yeah.
We're, letting loose our ids.
Yeah. It's not even the people who want to do something nefarious either. It's just kind of like
Hmm.
it's going to happen regardless of what our conscious minds are wanting to will.
Yeah.
It's going to happen one way or another. And I love like too, I don't know, just like the little soliloquies or monologues in the movie too, very very Shakespearean
Hmm.
in nature, but just like even Leslie Nielsen's speech at the end, or towards the finale of the film where the id monster's at the door, and you have Walter Pigeon who's just kind of going on. It's a very theatrical performance. He has like his robe and the way
Yeah.
he's gesticulating, and it's great. It's like it's exactly what that scene needs to be. There's so much good. The special effects in that movie are great too. It's just a very special
Hmm.
movie, and there's really nothing else quite like it
Yeah.
before or since.
Yeah, it's good we revisited that. I've been going back through like 50s sci-fi as well. It's like Rocket Ship XM. I remember the last time I watched that had actually some really good stuff in it.
Hmm.
It's very moving at the end. In fact, I'm like
Yeah.
that era of filmmaking and that era of science fiction filmmaking gets such a beating from
Hmm.
the freaking Star Wars generation.
Yeah, and I mean there was a lot of crap,
Oh
that
yeah, I mean
came
it's
out in
like
the
it was
50s
it was
too.
excessive. Like
Yeah.
there were so many movies, but even the stuff that's like really good,
Hmm.
it's still kind of reduced to 50 sci-fi B
Yeah,
movie,
Forbidden
whatever.
Planet gets that. I think nobody gives it a shot because they think it's that
It's like the
War of the
whole
Worlds.
aesthetic,
Yeah.
everything, yeah, a spaceship or whatever has to look like a flying refrigerator to be taken seriously.
Yeah. One movie I want to revisit from that time period is This Island Earth, because I
Hmm.
have only ever seen the Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie.
Oh no.
Because I encountered that pretty young. So I'd like to see it on Rift because it's gorgeous visually. I just can't really, and like the
Yeah.
setup is interesting, like with the building of the spaceship. And um yeah, I'll have to, that's one I've been wanting to see for the first time without yeah,
Yeah. That one
with
feels like pulpier
hmm
in a way.
and like some shots towards the end, I mean, they look like pulp covers. And
Yes.
yeah.
The colors and everything for that. Yeah. Recently, maybe within a year or so, I watched The Thing from Another World, which is a really good film.
Yeah, I saw that fairly recently too.
Yeah, and you really like the characters are great in it, and just the threat of the thing and going
Hmm.
through the base and stuff. It's it has this tension to it. And maybe I'll have to revisit John Carpenter's The Thing
Hmm.
because I haven't in a long time. But it was a time when I watched it a few times, and it's kind of like I felt like I didn't need to come back to it, but I don't
Hmm.
know. I might.
That's one I will defend. I mean, the
Mhm.
execution of like the kind of tension and
Yeah,
paranoia and like the acting in that film is so good.
yeah,
And how that's all orchestrated. It really is kind of next level. I mean, the effects are like deservedly, get a lot of attention, but I think just as a character piece, it works so well. And the fact that it kind of works a different patch of ground than the original movie does. Like to me, they don't bear comparison so much. And
hmm
it's hard because like I revisited Think from Another World not that long ago, which is amazing. It's a great film. And I prefer like the characters in that movie, and I enjoy the atmosphere of that original film so much. But I don't find myself doing too much comparative stuff because they're so
yeah,
different in how they approach the material, and I appreciate that about both films. It would be an interesting experiment though, because there's that TV cut of the thing that exists of the John Carpenter's The Thing that exists, where they take out a lot of the effects stuff,
really.
edited for content.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's on the new Blu-ray, and I wonder if like how that would change the experience of seeing the movie.
Hmm.
Which I mean, they also take out, you'd have to deal with some very odd dubbing because they like dub over a lot of the profanity and stuff too. So it's not going to be an
Yeah.
uncompromised experience, but it would be interesting to see like how does this change one's experience of the movie with that stuff taken out.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was the Invaders from Mars got a full restoration.
That's right. I heard
Speaking
about
of
that.
that,
Hmm.
that was something I also was like, sometimes I would think about. I'm like, I don't think that movie would ever get get a Blu-ray or anything like a restoration and whatnot because it's the color process was so unique and different. It was and complicated, but they did it. I think it was the George Eastman Foundation or whatever. It was up at that museum. They had the elements, and then they just did this long, arduous restoration with different things, and they put out a 4K Blu-ray of it. And it looks amazing, especially because I
Yeah.
recently, last year watched the DVD again. I'm like, oh, oh gosh, like I know this movie
Hmm.
is not supposed to look like this.
I know. And that movie specifically, it's so dependent upon the visuals and the colors. And
Yeah.
if any movie, really could be revived through a restoration like that, it's that
hmm
film, I think. And that's another one that, I think when people hear about that movie, they just think of the title and they're like, okay, let's relegate that to
Yeah.
the bin.
It's things were just the movie titles a lot of times the studios I guess ended up with were just we need it direct. We need
Hmm.
nothing really poetic,
Yeah.
more or less.
Yeah. And then you get these hidden gems like I Walked with a Zombie, or I
Yeah.
Married a Monster from Outer Space, stuff.
Yes, also good.
Yeah.